Hey friends, welcome. This video is going to be a stretch out of the old comfort zone for me because I've never done a sketchbook tour before, and I also don't particularly view my sketchbooks as very beautiful. They can get kind of rough. But you know what? I decided about 2 months ago that I would share the results of this sketchbook, so I'm gonna stick to it. You know, you're gonna see some ugly pages in here that I'm not proud of and honestly pretty nervous to share. But you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. I'm not sure if in the future I'm gonna do the same kind of sketchbook tour with every single page that I've ever done. Because I noticed that at certain points over the past 2.5 months, which is how long it took to knock this bad boy out, I noticed a little bit more of an awareness of the fact that other people were going to see this page than I particularly love. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I will share all of my stuff with you, but I'm definitely going to share every page of this one. So this will be fun and interesting for me too. I basically started this sketchbook at the same time that I started my 2-year journey to getting really good at art. So like I said, 2.5 months have passed, and today I finished the last page of the sketchbook. So let's do a little tour down memory lane of my first 2.5 months of trying to get good, and we'll see what I've come up with. So it looks like what I've come up with is a whole bunch of circles. I think this page was part of a video that I made actually on drawing lines. Could be wrong. This might just be like a loosening exercise that I did for myself. But yeah, there's a bunch of circles on here. And the general idea I probably had in my mind when I was doing this was to try and use my entire arm, either to get things loosened up or to practice creating with more confidence and energy. When you're just drawing with your fingers or your wrists, there's a tightness. You can get real accurate with drawing like that. But because of that, there's a tendency to kind of fall into this sort of comfort zone of like, well, I'm going to play it safe and make sure I can be as accurate as possible. And one of the things you lose from that is confidence and energy. You can get that by doing your arm. It's worth the loss of accuracy. You'll get the accuracy back through practice. But yeah, so I don't know what I was thinking there, but there you go. All right, so here's some lines. This I do know what it's from. This is the beginning of my studies with drawabox.com. Check it out if you're interested. This is one of the courses in the curriculum that I'm following. It's called Curriculum for the Self-Taught Solo Artist or something. It's a collection of mostly free resources to get really good at art. So what's going on here is kind of what I was discussing on the previous page. It's a confidence exercise. So you see I've drawn dots and then a single line connecting the dots. And that's supposed to help you practice this idea of you do your preparation before you draw the line, and then you just go for it. So in the middle of the line, you're not readjusting, redirecting. You're just executing as straight as you possibly can. And if you miss, you can consider that as like, well, it wasn't my fault that I missed. It was the planning guy back in the past. That's one of the draw box ideas. And I found it pretty interesting to think about that in terms of confidence. Here's some shaded cubes. This was definitely from a video of mine. This is one of my life drawing videos on YouTube, I think. Yeah, I think so. I had a video on YouTube where I talked about visualizing 3D form by getting some practice drawing 3D forms. So yeah, that's what that is. And yep, there we go. There's a figure that I made with 3 boxes. So you've got a head, torso, and pelvis, but those are now all 3D shapes that are situated in a 3D space. Some more of those cubes. One of these ended up being the thumbnail for the video. All right, and so here I'll switch the page around where I need to so you guys can see what's going on. So this is the first page that I did from imagination, apparently. And these are the pages that I'm particularly nervous about showing because I consider myself to be very inexperienced in drawing from the imagination. But that is actually one of the big components in drawabox.com is that they say 50% of your time should be spent doing play kind of stuff. So not creating from reference, just like doing your thing. Doesn't matter how it looks. So this is me doing that. So these will be the rough kinds of pages, but you can see me playing around from imagination. Here we got another imagination page. Looks like I got a figure kind of leaning to the side, little face, and a kitty cat. Look at that little guy. He's got a funny face. I think I did get better with cats as the months went along. All right, let's see. So there's a little bit more imagination stuff. It looks like I'm playing around with edges. I've got this like hard edge and then soft on the side. I know one of the things I learned from cynics is that when you paint, you want one side to be hard and the other edge to be soft, and that helps you kind of mold stuff. So I guess I was trying to figure out how values worked. And it looks like I made some kind of skyline kind of thing or something like that. Again, I got a hard edge and a soft edge. Pretty cool. This, yep, looks like more of the same thing. I've got, looks like I've been practicing drawing with the side of the pencil. So this is a very new thing for me with this sketchbook. I've always drawn in tripod grip like this, but almost all the drawing on this was done like this instead, so I could get the edge of the pencil. And that was a very difficult learning curve. I'm starting to get much more comfortable with it now, but oh gosh, it's been tough. I've been doing that with my figure drawing as well, and that helped me to get more used to this kind of way of holding the pencil. I guess I can express here now too. I've got a separate sketchbook for my figure drawing practice, and I've done about a sketchbook and a quarter of life drawing. So I've done a ton of life drawing in this segment of time too. I decided to separate them out because of YouTube's policies and stuff. I wanted to play it safe. So yeah, there's oodles of life drawing stuff that I've been doing too that unfortunately I won't be sharing here. But yeah, so this is more line stuff. Looks like there's a face hanging out in there too. All right, here's another draw box lesson. This is an interesting one. So you set your beginning and end point, and then you're supposed to draw 8 lines with that same kind of confident stroke that I was talking about, where like you sort of do the planning and then you go. So yeah, that's what this is. And what you're aiming for eventually is that this end line, you want it to look as not hairy as possible. So you see areas like here, it looks kind of like a tuft of fur or something like that. As you get more accuracy, then that'll tighten up, look kind of more like these ones. That was fun. There's another page of the same thing. This was a fun little thing too. I forget the name of this course. This is like kind of a separate series on YouTube, still within my curriculum. And they wanted you to do pencil strokes that conveyed a certain type of emotion, which is an awesome way of thinking of line as something that has like emotion to it. So, oh gosh, don't ask me what kind of emotion this was, but it was really fun. This is something I went back to at least once later on in my sketchbook, and it's something I want to come back to more often because I think this is an aspect of art that we don't, or at least I don't consider too much, is the actual character of the strokes. So outside of any accuracy you're trying to get with a reference, like what is your stroke saying? I think that's pretty novel and cool. I haven't heard that from too many teachers. So I'll be exploring that down the road. Okay, next page. Here's another emotion. Gosh, I want to say this is either calm or sadness. Here, this is sad. I remember because the lines are vertical, and this seems to me kind of like tears or rain kind of streaming down. I was thinking sad when I made this one. And I really like how these strokes work. A lot of them are soft, but some of them kind of like harden a little bit in certain spots. And yeah, like I said, this is just an interesting thing to think about. I think this was excitement. Kind of looks like little exclamation marks or something. And I remember the kind of energy that I got at the very end when it like flipped up and did a little curve. That was pretty fun. That got me thinking a little bit more about how your drawings can have like a tempo and a speed to them. This is a draw box challenge. Again, yeah, just drawing a line with confidence. I got dots for the start and the end point, and I'm going for it. On this one, I think he added one other thing, and that's that he wanted you to start ghosting the line before you did it. So you're like hovering with your pen. Everything in Drawbox is done with a fine tip pen. You're supposed to like ghost what you're doing 3 times. That's sort of like your planning phase, and then you go for it. And eventually in Drawbox, you're supposed to do like every single line that way. You ghost and then you draw. Here's some more emotions. I'm saying this has got to be anger. And yeah, I think this is calm. I went back and did all of these again because I thought they were interesting. So yeah, I want to say this is calm. There's sadness. Looks like I was feeling the same kind of lines this time as I did last. And yeah, maybe this was anger. I don't know. This is so fun for me to look at because I consider myself sometimes something of like a stiff artist. And there's so much energy and freedom here. It's just cool. It's neat how like once you sort of let go of the need to represent something, suddenly your arm is a little more free to just kind of do its thing. It's almost like the space between what I'm thinking and what ends up on the page, it's like it's more immediate. It's like there's less gunk kind of getting in the way. It's more of just a immediate, straightforward, like from my heart to the page when I go like this. That's one of the reasons why I want to really practice this. That's one of the reasons I meditate a lot too, is because I want to start getting that sense in my living as well as my art of less friction, less of those thoughts and worries that just kind of gunk up like the space between my mind and my actual living. So these just excite me to look at. Drawbox exercises this time. So I was supposed to draw out like, let's see, what order did I do this? Yeah, I was supposed to draw like a square-ish kind of thing, but it wasn't supposed to be a perfect square. It was supposed to be a square kind of going out in some kind of perspective. And then you ghost an ellipse and then draw the ellipse and try to like hit the corners correctly. So that was cool. All right, this looks a little mucked up, but it looks like there's a little frog on there with a jacket. He's smoking a pipe or something. And this is definitely some more imaginative stuff. Got this face, and Looks like I made a little bug out of some of those emotional lines. So that's cool. I would love to see myself do more of this kind of stuff. There's some great energy here in a representational drawing. I love that. So I must have been looking at a goblet in our house. Yeah, I'm not in love with that, but yeah, you have some of those days where like you're just you're not on. I think the last page in this sketchbook is one of those days, ironically. Here's more of that same exercise we saw a little bit earlier. Draw a box is like militaristic, man. There is so much just practicing like these types of exercises. At one point, there's a 250 box challenge where you draw 250 boxes in perspective. You'll see plenty of those pages in here. And oh man, it's grueling. But you do learn a lot from it. I can draw boxes in perspective really well now. Let's see, here's some more imaginative stuff. You can see I'm not really used to like drawing with the side of my pencil yet, because everything is like too soft, right? I don't really have like the ability to get hard yet. So yeah, this is me practicing that. And let's see, got like a little moon face thing. We have some birds, a butterfly. You're gonna see tons of birds on my imaginative drawing thing. I've actually spent some time like studying bird skeletons too, because for some reason drawing sparrows from the imagination has ended up being really fun to me. Some figures walking around and grass maybe, I don't know. As we go on, my pages will look less smoky. Here's another one with some imaginative stuff. I love all these imagination pages. That's something I'm definitely going to do more of is play. My play kind of fell apart over the past month and a half, mostly because of work stuff. My day job is really demanding this time of year. So I sacrificed the play for the work, for like the structured art time. But I'm starting to believe more and more that this play stuff is actually more important than the structured study. So I'll be bringing that back on the next sketchbook. Looks like we got some circular clouds. I was trying to get the Terminator line going there. Some kind of little face. Another draw box exercise. Let's see, the way that this one goes is like this. And so I've graphed it out and I'm ghosting and then drawing ellipses. And then they have this cool thing where like you cut it up and then you draw ellipses of varying sizes. At the end you fill in the gaps with little ellipses. It's a good exercise. Same thing again. This is a cool one. This is what you call a blind contour drawing exercise. Just part of a YouTube series thing that was a part of my curriculum. So here you can see it kind of looks like a hand. I was supposed to look at my hand and not look at the page at all. And then as my eye moved along the hand, I wanted my pen to move at the same time and observe every single shift. So yeah, that was cool. Some kind of exercise like this is part of drawing from the right side of the brain too, which that's a great book for drawing. If you guys are looking for a great book on drawing, 10 out of 10. Here's a blonde contour of one of those fine liner pens, done with a fine liner pen. Looks like another hand. This was of some plants, I think, outside of my window. Goes like this. I think that's the way to view it. And man, these little geometric kind of things going on here is cool. There's a really neat character to these lines. There's another one. It goes like this. I'm kind of finagling my sketchbook page around because my microphone's right here. I don't want to bump that. But I don't think I'm gonna have to do that too much on this video. Here's some imagination stuff. Looks like I imagine a little monk's outfit. I was kind of thinking of myself as a monk and like the types of things I like to do to grow as a person. So I thought I'd give myself a little outfit. Looks like there's a little monk's shoe there drawn in some geometric perspective. And it looks like we got some mudras and here's a little buff dude with a belt. All right, here we have a buff chicken guy with his arms crossed and a belt. Again, my drawings are a little smoky because I haven't gotten the hang of my pencil yet, but got a skull and looks like we got some angry lines. So you can see I'm still playing around with that emotion in the stroke stuff. Blind contour of another hand. And another one. Wow, that video was asking a lot of me. Lots of blind contour exercises. I think I had to do like an hour of them. I think that's why there's so many. And I was hating it by the end, to be honest. But you had to like set a timer and do like 30 minutes of one type and 30 of another. So I filled a bunch of pages this way. This might be like some plants at the coffee shop, I think. And I think this was a light at the coffee shop. More draw box exercises. So this time I was drawing ellipses in a funnel shape. And we have like a minor axis of the ellipse. So it's trying to keep that as like the very middle of each ellipse and not have the ellipse like tilt off incorrectly. All right, here we got some boxes drawn in measured perspective. So you see I got a horizon line, and then I think using a ruler, I was like drawing each perspective line for each one. It looks beautiful, man. It's really neat to see these boxes drawn in perfect perspective. Over time, I've gotten much better at doing this freehand and just kind of imagining where the vanishing points are. But yeah, at this beginning stage, you were able to measure everything. And then they had you like darken one side just to give some clarity within all that chaos. Got some pen imagination stuff. Cool. There's some eggs flying out of a pan. That's fun. We got a little coffee mug, couple faces. Nice. Okay, here, I'm gonna check my video and make sure that, all right, cool. I wanna make sure that this is like visible here for everybody. Okay, cool. All right, more pen stuff. We got some clouds and mountains, a little plant. So yeah, I think this is all imagination stuff. Here's some scratchy figures. And more boxes. All right, so with this one, it looks like, all right, here I set a dot for the vanishing point, but then I was supposed to like not measure a line, but just kind of try to draw the vanishing lines going to that point. You can see that was a much more difficult task. And then at the end, you take a ruler and you bring every line back, and you see you'll see like kind of an interspersed area where the lines vanish to around the box. The goal is eventually like tighten that up. So like you can just eyeball it more or less to a single vanishing point. More of the same. Looks like I have a nice encouraging note here. Way better, great job. I love when my inner voice can pat me on the back instead of beat me up. I can't say I do that too often, but I'm getting better at it. All right, let's see. These are from observation. This is from another YouTube course, and I think I was, yeah, he had some way of measuring. I don't remember. It's not the way I measure. It's more structured, but he had you kind of interpose a box, And then using that box hue, kind of drew the object. All right, got a face here, and oh, okay, I see what's going on here. So first off, I've got a little value scale that I made in pencil. And then this face is actually from much later in the sketchbook, but I must have found a blank spot on this page and just threw a face in there. I'm still in the middle of a 100 faces challenge, so I stuck face number 5 on this page. Here's some imagination stuff. I'm drawing some skulls from imagination. That's cool. I spent a lot of this sketchbook learning to draw the face more structurally, and that has really paid off. It's cool. I'm imagining some skulls for that purpose. You see more birds. My birds have gotten so much better. It's neat to see this one and see how much better I know I can draw a bird. Another little birdie and a figure. Oh, this one was a bear. This took a long time and it was a difficult task. It's really hard to see what's going on with this exercise, but basically I'm drawing a cube that like goes into space, and then I'm rotating that cube around in like every single direction. Yeah, hard to see what's going on with this, but it was yeah, it's a good exercise for wrapping your head around 3D space. Birdies! Wow, my birdies are already much better. I must have looked at some birds for a while and kind of wedged in my head like, okay, this is kind of what they look like. Because I can see I've already got this like sort of hump head shape that I still use when I draw birds now. So that's cool. That's something I think I'll do a lot of as I grow as an artist, is spend time like looking at references and then put the references away and draw from imagination and see what stuck. More birdies. Looks like I was even drawing bird skulls from the imagination. So I looked at some bird skulls and then I'd set it away and like, you know, drawn some birds. That's cool. I got some birdies in perspective. Looks like there's a little bum hole there. Little birdie flying, trying to figure out how to get him flying in the air. Cool. And some birdies. Couple lines. Looked like I was trying to figure out how to do a beak open. Here's another draw box exercise. So here you draw the swoop, and then you draw boxes in perspective, like kind of moving around and shrinking and going along with the swoop. Kind of boxes flying through space. Very fun. And more of the same. Oh man, so here is the beginning of the 250 box challenge. So on this page I can tell you the gist of it. So you're supposed to draw an imagined box in accurate perspective, and you want each of the lines to like converge. So you don't want anything parallel. You want everything to converge slightly in all 3 dimensions. So a lot of times I'll draw some dots. Then, you know, I do the ghosting line and draw a nice confident straight line. So all these lines look real straight, but they're actually hand drawn. That's a neat form of confidence that I've developed from this course. These pen lines are not using a ruler. And then once you've drawn the box, then you extend every single line out in perspective and see how you did. So that's what all these pencil lines are. You'll see check marks where I think I did good, like, okay, these are converging together. You'll see X's where I did poorly. A lot of pages that look just like this. Whew. There's another one. Sometimes I got notes here. Over time I start shading one end to kind of make it easier to see what's going on. And boxes, boxes, boxes. Little boxed guy in 3D space, face and a bird. And let's see, more bird heads. These are some strange birds. I like it. This is like a seagull kind of thing, or no, a pelican, that's what you call them. And looks like some imaginative bushes or something. Boxes. All right, this is my head construction class. This was an awesome course. So basically you're learning to draw a head in a structural sense. So these are some of my notes. More notes. Got like some basic general measurements of where the features go on the face. And more head notes. Some more. Doing the note, I'm really glad that I drew along with the course, because that definitely ingrained some of this stuff. Seeing visuals like this, I'm glad my hand has done this a little bit, because it's taking so much work for my head to start thinking of a figure in this sense. Like you see there's a form overlapping a form overlapping a form. Getting some practice with my hand as well as my brain has really helped me to start drawing more like this. Boxes. I can already tell these boxes are getting better at box number 30. Some heads. Looks like he's talking about where you position the ear as the head tilts away or towards you. This got dusty because I had a graphite drawing here, which I'll show later. So some of the graphite got on here. Boxes. And some notes. More heads. I think this was a homework assignment, maybe after one of the courses. I think I'm looking at a model here and then trying to draw it with the simple construction that he suggests. One of the things that stuck with me from this that is very much a part of how I conceptualize the head now is just how important this brow line is. In the past, I used to use the eyes as like the big important marker, but now I use the eyebrow, which is situated about a third down from either the top of the head or the hairline, depending on your conception. But that brow really conveys a lot of info. There we go. Yeah, these are definitely looking at models. Some more. You can see he gives you pictures where they're facing all kinds of directions. And that forces you to really think in terms of the 3D sense of like where everything goes. Some of the same. And more of the same. And we got boxes. Some more heads. I can tell they're getting better. I'm much better now than I was when I did this. But I can already see, like, yeah, I'm starting to see this a little more geometrically. This whole, like, brow sticking out and kind of parallel lines going out this way because they're in perspective. Great job, Kyle. Doing awesome. Yeah, see, this really felt like a big improvement to me. I could see that I was starting to look at a face and actually everything, like in a more of a 3D sense. That's really stuck with me, I think. we got some more notes here. You can see now we're getting into finer details. Starting to look a little bit like Iron Man here. Yeah, this is like a medium level of structure to the face. And I still think of the face in these terms, even though I know a lot more details now about the individual features and how to draw them. This is still like the foundation for me. Now, ideally, I don't want every single person to look this standard exact shape. They probably still do to some extent. And over time, they'll become more characteristic of the person I'm drawing. But the structural idea is still like in my head when I draw today. So these are all from the imagination. That shows I'm starting to figure stuff out. I can now draw heads from the imagination and have them look, accurate from any angle. That's cool. And this little angry bird dude with, looks like he has human legs. Love it. More boxes. Some notes. Looks like we're starting to talk about eyes and how they situate in this crevice area of the brow. That's something I'm still working on today. These are more notes from the class. This is a Steve Houston class, by the way, with New Masters Academy. One of the few paid resources that I've taken part in at this point, but I would recommend it. So these must be from models. You can see there's a greater level of detail now than in the previous model drawings, but no detailed features yet. Still just the face as a whole. All right, and this is imagination stuff. This is me trying to take what I learned and see if I can point faces in any direction. Nice. Boxes, we've made it to 54. That means we're 20% of the way there. Oh. The number of hours I spent drawing boxes and then drawing lines. Ugh. Every one of these pages took between 25 to 40 minutes, believe it or not. Towards the end, though, I just rushed them out. I got fed up at about box 160 or so. All right, we reached the halfway point. Okay, second half of the sketchbook. You can see we're working on eyes right now. Eyes are still something that I'm trying to figure out. I've revisited these pages quite a bit to try to figure out how to situate an eye inside the eyebrows. But something I'm still trying to work on. All right, my characteristic birds. Starting to look better. Yeah, I've definitely studied the head and the body of sparrows, and looks like a little bit of how their feet work. This guy's doing a little squawk, squawk. And some figure and face stuff from the imagination. Boxes. And some eye stuff. Look at that dude's eyes. This might be a good page for me to revisit and think about a little bit. Yeah. So you can see how like the eyeball is kind of like situated back into the brow. So there's this sense of cavity here. And yeah, so these forms that like I'm really trying to get the hang of. Let's see, looks like I drew a towel from my bathroom. Looks like I was thinking about folds and trying to Get a little better at that. Cool. Nice playing around. So we got some eyes. I think this might have been after the lesson. Maybe these are from the model. And some weird bird spiky thing. So it looks like I did a skull study. Either that or I made this up, but yeah, it kind of looks like I made this one up. But yeah, with some kind of stick wizard doing a big fire. And again, there's those emotion lines. I love that. So yeah, these are based on models, and I'm trying to use that construction of the eye that he taught to situate an eyeball within that kind of muscle stuff that's going around there. So yeah, again, these might be pages worth studying again. I've had a lot of difficulty conceptualizing how the eyes fit in the brow for some reason. Well, it's a very complex area. I'm sure that's why. Yep, so eyes, and this is cool. I would love to see more stuff kind of like this. I think I was looking at some rosemary outside my window, and I was trying to just, I don't know, do those beautiful angular lines. I really love the energy of this. That's cool. There's a lot of freedom in that. Boxes. You see, I'm still taking notes. At this point, I'm doing like dotted lines to kind of try to correct my error. But I never quite understood mentally yet quite how to like morph the box to the correct shape. That's probably something that I'll play around with later. It's like, okay, if this is a wrong box, in my head, how does the correct box look? And can I mentally kind of morph it and then draw some dotted lines that show the correct one? These, I think this is all from the imagination. This is neat. So I'm starting to do some geometric forms and get a Terminator line and some cast shadows. Just trying to mentally think of like how these forms might stick out in space. That's something I plan to do more of. I've done a little bit more of it. Boxes. Looking better. More class notes. Looks like we're talking about the nose now. And some imaginative heads, some figures. All right, cool. I even got like some, this is a time where I was actually like starting to study a couple figure artists, specifically one that really relies on the Terminator line to show the form. It looks like I did a figure from the imagination and tried to like do a nice Terminator line. That's cool. Boxes. This was a study of a John Singer Sargent drawing. Pretty cool. I learned some stuff from this. Some of the things that I remember from this study is that the hair almost like evaporated into the background. And it was almost like a couple contour lines of the hair were just like almost an afterthought. Like the hair just sort of blended and disappeared for the most part. And then his use of like different line weights was something that struck me. Yeah, so I'm now better at using these kinds of line weights imaginatively. Boxes. At this point, I'm starting to feel pretty confident with boxes. But I leveled up even more in my impression from box 91. Those exercises really did make a difference. So you got some structures of the nose here. Some boxes. Now we're talking about the lips a little bit. He's talking about how the nose and the mouth area is kind of like a maw, or a muzzle is the word he uses, kind of like a doggy. Some lips. More lips. And this must be homework. All right, this was my first skills test. So this is when the month of September ended. And you'll see that John Singer Sargent study I did stuck in my head. And I'm really happy with how I carried over my observations from that study onto this. This was a face on Pinterest, and I wanted to draw it in graphite instead of charcoal. I wanted to draw it in John Singer Sargent kind of way. So you'll see again the hair like kind of disappears a little bit. I have some nice checkerboarding going on here with the light and dark. And I'm really happy with these line weights that I chose. That chin right there, oh, that's great. Yeah, I learned a lot from this drawing and the study before. It's really stuck with me. The figure drawing stuff I was doing at the time really helped with this too. This is some like a queenly figure with a big flowing dress or something. Some kind of imagination thing. Nice. All right, we got some heroic Wonder Woman kind of lady from the imagination. And looks like we have some gangster bird sitting in a chair or something. These funny birds. Oh, man. I like how I crossed the arms and had the wings going there. A little bit human arms, a little bit wings. That's cool. You know, I really wish I've done more of this kind of stuff. I've really held back from this stuff for most of my life because of a sense of like, well, if I just study more, then like I'll be better at it and then I can do this kind of stuff. But right now, if I try to do it, it's gonna look stupid. And I'm slowly overcoming that sense and getting more of an appreciation for pages like this. Even if they look cringy to me, this is going to be a very significant part of my art life. For one, because like this is play, you know? Like if you're not gonna have fun doing art, then why are you doing it? But also I feel like there's something you can only learn through pages like this. Can't learn it through study. Here's some mouths. That's great. I'm gonna revisit these kinds of pages sometime too. Really reinforce my idea of this simplified mouth. I learned so much from this class. Yep, so now we're going into perspective a little bit. 3/4 view. And more boxes. This is homework. And more homework. Still chugging away on those boxes. This looks like it's imagination stuff. And that's cool. You see, I really tried to think geometrically here with combining the whole muzzle, the nose and the mouth, and kind of how all that works in a perspective. That's great. That's really served me. I want to double down on this even more, but I see some muzzle now when I draw a face, even from the imagination, and somehow I'm able to suggest a little bit better that kind of curvature. And this is, I guess, is more like edges play. This is imagination stuff, yeah. So again, I've drawn like a geometric shape, and I've tried to stretch the lips over the teeth. Yeah, so I drew teeth, and I tried to stretch some lips over it in a way that looked right. And some more geometric thingies with cast shadows. Very cool. The ears. Yep, that's a great diagram. I learned a lot from thinking about the ear like that. And some more 3D brain stuff. This is while I was on a brief vacation, which was wonderful. Work has been strenuous this time of year, and this is a really refreshing time. And still doing those boxes. This might be after the vacation, actually. I'm not sure if I did boxes during the vacation. One of the things I did during the vacation, though, was a hardcore study of light. So maybe at the end of this sketchbook tour, maybe I'll show some Procreate pages of some of the light stuff I was playing around with. But I really increased my conception of how light and color works during the sketchbook too, and that doesn't show up in these pages. But that's been a real mind bender. At some point, I'm going to do another video on color. My most popular video on YouTube is the color mixing masterclass that I did. And I really wedged in a lot of my knowledge of color on those pages. But since then, I've grown a much more conceptual understanding of how light works and how color changes with respect to light and objects that absorb and reflect light in certain ways. I'm sure I'm not at a space where I could teach it simply or eloquently, but I'm excited about that. And at some point, I'll do a color and light video. Imagination stuff. And more imagination play. See just these random 3D objects, some random 3D figures. And yeah, some more of that. Looks like, there we go. Looks like I've drawn some bands to kind of show some contour. Very nice. I'm still on vacation here, so I guess I did draw some boxes on vacation. Some ears. I think this is homework. Yeah. And this is the beginning of my 100 heads challenge. So this means that I finished with the heads course. And now, according to my curriculum, to finish up the course, I'm supposed to draw 100 heads. And so I've tried to draw 100 heads in like a pretty reasonable amount of detail with a particular emphasis on showing the geometry. I think as of the end of this, I'm at head like 51 or something, so I'm actually not done yet. But yeah, some of them are from the imagination, and many of them are from Pinterest. These are both from Pinterest, I think. Yeah, so here's some heads. You see, I'm really trying to show that geometry. And if these heads look overly geometric, I'm okay with that. Because I want these 100 heads to really reinforce what I learned in the class, which was thinking structurally about stuff. So yeah, that's okay to me if these look overly geometric. If I can come out of these 100 heads with a embodied sense of how to stick an eyeball inside that eyebrow and how lips wrap around and stuff, then I will consider that a huge victory. So here we go. These, yeah, I guess these are probably done with reference. Yeah, made it to 10. And these look like box people. So again, I'm playing around a little bit with sense of 3D perspective. And I like this. I'm getting a little bit better. See, there's a knee sticking out towards the viewer. I've never been able to do stuff like that. Looks like I'm playing around a little bit with how different muscle parts kind of fit on other muscles. Yeah, and figures. Little eye from the imagination. I like that I got this lump kind of thing going on. The eye definitely looks like it's sitting back into something. So making progress. This is all imagination stuff. Little birdie going in reverse. Yeah, cool. Halfway! I hit the halfway mark on the boxes. At this point, I feel like I really started hitting my stride with the boxes. And ironically, it was when I stopped caring quite as much and I just kind of started knocking them out a little bit more. Something about that freed me up to kind of step back in my view of the boxes a little bit. And from that point, when I was drawing a little more freely, I was actually kind of able to see the whole thing converging better. It's funny how sometimes if you try less hard, there's a freedom that lets you do better. Don't ask me how you get that to happen, but it started happening at about box 125. So yeah, looks like, yeah, I think this is from the imagination. Yeah, I can tell because I still in my imagination have this big lump that comes down. That's just a big muscle that I used to cover the eye a little bit. So I'm still trying to figure out how to really situate that eyeball back there with a simplified drawing. All right, got a little bikini lady there. And looks like I gave some nice love to this drawing. Yeah, so see these lines and how they all relate. Like I'm still trying to wrap my head around how this works, but I consider this a real success in how I portrayed this. And yeah, as I work on like my edge control, I think that's going to help a lot too, because I'm pretty poor with edges. But you can see I just darkened in this whole space, which is the form turning. And in a sense, that does sell kind of what's going on with that. But this is an area where I can definitely improve. I feel a lot of pride in this face, though. There's a lot of stuff to love there. Boxes, boxes. I'm still drawing those converging lines, so I'm still committed to the whole process at this point. So these are more faces. These are all from the imagination. So that's neat. This, I feel like I did a pretty good job here of like conveying this 3D stuff. Maybe that one's not from the imagination. I don't know. Boxes, boxes, boxes. I wasn't kidding when I told you it is like a slog to get through these 250 boxes. All right, so these are faces from the imagination. Looks like I got some lily pads here too. I must have drawn this when I was working on my only painting of the past 2.5 months. I did a lily pad painting, which you can see on a previous YouTube video. And one of the things that I wanted to do there is view kind of these curves as guiding the eye around. So you can see how these lines kind of connect with each other a little bit. There's kind of you can sort of see a swoop going around there and coming down, maybe something like that. I made my painting with a movement kind of like this in mind. I was really proud of that. That was a new perspective of design that I've not quite put in a work of art previously. So I like that I'm starting to be able to think about this kind of stuff. More boxes and more boxes. Okay, so here it looks like maybe I've finally given up on the converging lines. And this particularly looks like a kind of screw it sort of page. But my boxes do get a lot better, despite the fact that, yeah, I'm just phoning it in with this page for sure. Here we go, they're cleaning up now. I think I did all of these final boxes in like 2.5 days or something. I was just so ready to be done with this and to move on. Yeah, so you see just page after page of these boxes. I literally just sat around for a whole day just trying to knock these out. But somewhere around this point, like something new clicked that didn't click when I was being more rigorous. And that is like just more of a natural sense of this convergence. More of seeing the whole box before I even draw the box. Something about that happened at this point. And I'll never forget that. At certain points, I might revisit this whole, screw it, I'm just gonna do it and not care about the result. That did something for me here. Just knocking those boxes out. These are so much better than they were at the beginning. Even if you look at those boxes on like page 1 of my sketchbook that I was doing for a lesson that I taught or something, I can see now that like the convergences are wrong on those pages, whereas they're more correct here. Yeah, I can really see what's going on in a new way after this exercise. So despite how painful it was sometimes, it really was worth it. Okay, we're almost through, and ta-da, 250. OMG, finally. Man, I was so done. But hey, these are some pretty decent boxes. All right, so back to the other challenge. This curriculum that I'm doing right now, I'm gonna say it has got some slogs built into it. The whole like just bash your head against the wall and do 100 challenge kind of thing. Like, I'm ready to take a little break from that, as helpful as it's been. I'm excited when I'm done with the heads too, and I can insert more play and feel like I can insert more play in. So yeah, see, I didn't even count these. Something went wrong probably, and I just scrapped those. Yeah, these were nice. I was feeling really good about these. These are Pinterest references. And you'll see I pulled a little bit of that John Singer Sargent kind of line stylistic stuff there. That's cool. It's neat when I feel like I have the space to add that kind of stuff in. Another thing I'm learning more as I go through this is that time is not wasted in art. Sometimes I feel like when I'm drawing a face, like if I get to the point where I'm worrying about stuff like this, I should move on to the next phase so I can knock stuff out, so I can get mileage in. And to an extent, there is something to say about that. But I think there's something that you can also only learn by committing and allowing yourself to be bored in your drawing and still keep going. There's a kind of like attention training that's going on there, where it's like I'm going to focus on this and do the thing, even if like my desires are telling me that like I want to draw something more exciting, or I'm hungry. Like sticking it out for another 5 minutes, and pushing past that kind of resistance of wanting more comfort. There's something that trains your attention by doing that. And attention, I think, is probably the most important quality in art. Here's some 3D stuff. I'm trying to, just draw 3D stuff in my brain. Another head. That was a fun one to do the whole head on one page. Just waste the page and get some big arm motions in there. I like the energy of this drawing. And some more Pinterest stuff. All right, so we got a couple imagination ones. You know what? Oh, all of these are imagination. I felt happy that I could draw a face of that quality from the imagination. And I see I've got like a little bit of a simplification going on here with the eyes and the brow. And I think there is still a sense of that eye sitting in there that's conveyed from fewer lines. Got some heads and some birds from the imagination. I spent some time studying how the wings worked, like how the muscles looked. I just looked at a bunch of pictures of birds in flight and just kind of tried to figure out how it works. And so I can tell like I've internalized some stuff like this triangular shape here and how that wing flips up, how there's 3 layers. Yeah, I figured more about sparrows. There's some imagination stuff. Again, I'm glad I can draw these types of faces from the imagination. And even these types. Little bubble girl. Looking good. I like this page. I wasn't super hot on the likeness of this one, so I drew it again. Got a little bit closer the second time. And more. I think I was feeling afraid of messing this page up, so I sabotaged it. And some more faces. All right, that's cool. Yeah, I got these sorts of, I forget what these are called. But I was trying to get like a sense of the face. This is from a Pinterest reference, the faces. And then like I made up these lines over the picture to try to get a sense of how everything's working. And it looks like I reviewed Cynix's Facebook video on, or YouTube video on eyes. Because I know Cynix is the guy that makes these kind of like diamond eye lumps and then kind of draws stuff over it. So yeah, you can see here I'm trying to imagine in my head how the geometry works. And I think a combination of these eye lumps and then some of these lines, yeah, that's what I was doing there. And yeah, that's cool. See, revisiting stuff like this is something I'll be doing in the near future. Another face. All right, this is a pretty cool page too. I can tell my skill in drawing faces really has gotten a lot better from the course and then from this 100 faces exercise. So this is another draw box exercise. So now that I'm done with the 250 boxes, I'm moving on. So this is like a wiggly ribbon arrow going through space. It's an exercise in considering this paper to be a window. So you're looking back into something rather than just seeing it as like a flat 2D kind of thing. And sausages, this is draw box stuff too. So the key here is to fit ellipses in here that like widen appropriately in perspective. Okay, and here's the final page. And yeah, I felt like these last faces were kind of rough, especially that guy. But, oh well. And so today I wrote out a little bit of recap of the amount of time that I've been spending since I started on this journey. So it looks like with art, I've spent a sum total of 173 hours of focused, attentive art practice. So that's great. I wrote Nagong 48 here. That's the type of meditation that I do. So I spent almost 50 hours meditating in that time too. And then I've subjectively rated my skills. That's something I do at the end of every month, and I didn't include it in my last video like I usually do. But so I've rated myself there. And in fact, I can show you. Here's a little print off that I do. This might not look like anything, but I'll show it to you anyways, just so you can see what I'm up to. So I've got my roadmap to art skill here. So I've got all the different skills that I subjectively view as like a part of art, and I'm judging my skills on a 1 to 10 scale. So I've got play, engagement, trust, design, creativity, edges, color, values, and drawing. So I consider my drawing to be at the highest level of a 7 out of 10. And my goal is by the end of a 2-year period, I want all of these skills to be a 7 or above. So here's the progress. You see this dark line is how I subjectively ranked myself before I started learning this stuff. So 2.5 months ago, the dark line is how I rated myself on these skills. And this lighter line is those numbers that you just saw on the previous page. That's how I subjectively consider where I'm at today. So you can see the bar is going up. That's cool. That's my goal. I'm trying to keep it as subjective as possible because I don't want to over-rely on like a mathematical view of improvement. I think I risk not improving in the way I want to if I get too nitty-gritty, any more nitty-gritty than this. Many people would already consider this maybe a little bit too structured. But yeah, so for example, I'll just talk about one of these. My subjective ranking of my skill of engagement, or what I called seeing in my previous video. This is seeing. You'll see that I've gotten better at seeing. And check out that video. I think it's one of the best videos I've made, to be honest. But this is like the kind of intimate connection with my abilities that I've tried to map on paper here to gauge my progress. But anyways, thanks for sticking around with me through this. I didn't feel as nervous as I thought I would sharing my art. So I'm sure I'll do more sketchbook tours in the future. From this point, I'm going to fill out my sketchbooks with the mindset of I'm not going to show people, and I'll only show the pages that I want to show. And I want to see if that'll win back some more of the freedom that I want when I'm sitting in front of a piece of paper. But this was easy and fun, and I'm happy I shared everything I did with you guys. So thanks for sticking around and watching with me. If you liked this, give it a like and follow my channel. And I would appreciate your support too on Patreon. If you want to help me by throwing $1 my way every month and helping me to make these videos and become a professional, then man, I'd really appreciate that. But anyways, that's all. Have a great day, guys, and peace.